I just got hit, guys. Oh, there we go, guys. Oh, there we go. Got a fish. Welcome back to the KastKing channel. Today, guys and girls, I've got the KastKing Kestrel Elite BFS reel right here. This is a brand new BFS reel from KastKing. This reel weighs in at a crazy 4.5 ounces. It is one of the lightest spools in the world on a bait caster right now, and it's also the world's lightest bait caster. From what I can figure out, there is no lighter reel than this. So if you're really wanting to look for a new reel to nail down that finesse niche that you guys have been getting super into, if you guys know anything about the summer and the fall, is that finesse is king, if you want my honest opinion. So today, guys and girls, I'm at one of the most pressured ponds in my area. I live literally 5 minutes away from here. It's walking distance, but I obviously drove here because it is hot. So one thing I will say is sticking to the finesse tactics that are involved with a lot of BFS gear is always key. So today I have tied on a little miniature chatterbait. I have some micro paddle tails. I have some tiny jigs, and we're going to see what we can get into with the new KastKing Kestrel Elite. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, my opinions. I've used several very high-end bait finesse reels. I've also used several low-end bait finesse reels, but I'm going to see you guys, and we're going to get into some action on the water and see if we can't catch a few fish for the video today, guys. Hope you guys are ready, and stay tuned. Oh, and one more thing before we get to the video, I just also want to let you guys know, if you guys want to pick up this reel, there's gonna be a link down in the description below. I'm also gonna be down in the comments below answering any questions you have about this reel and giving you my honest opinion about it. So let us get to it. All right, guys, just to give you a quick little chat session about this reel. If you guys are curious what kind of braided line I'm using on this reel, this is actually the KastKing 8X Finesse line of braid. I'm using it in that 6-pound option, and it comes in a 300-yard spool. This is actually one of my favorite braids for using for finesse because it is so smooth, and it has the 8-strand always allows for smoother casting, so it's great for finesse options. So say if you're somebody who wants more of a smoother casting option, this is definitely the braid you want to use, especially with bait finesse. I'm a big proponent of bait finesse using braid. I don't really like using monofilament because if you use monofilament and you put too much force onto the line and the spool itself, and it allows it to stretch, and it'll actually warp the spool if you aren't careful. These spools are meant to be super light, and they're meant to essentially allow the spool to spin with a lighter lure. So I'm actually using a 16th ounce chatterbait, and I'm getting a really great cast right now. I'm probably getting 30-yard cast. So I would say that I love this reel. I've actually learned that the more I've used this reel, the more I enjoy it and the better performance I've actually gotten out of it. It's like any machine, really. The more you use it, the better it's going to get. Also, another thing, guys, if you're wondering what also I'm using, oh, there we go. Oh, I just had my first fish. I just lost it. Dang it. But essentially I'm using 6-pound braid to a 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. So 6-pound fluorocarbon leader allows me to actually get a good depth control on these chatterbaits and also get a good durability behind it. There's some KastKing covert braid. I don't know if they have it in as light as a 6-pound option, but it is honestly one of my favorite fluorocarbons I ever used was a KastKing covert. But this reel casts so incredibly flat, and it's so nice. So using that braid to fluorocarbon option allows you to have very flat casting and very consistent braking. So I love getting super accurate casts with it because I can literally just put it wherever I want. And with using BFS reel, guys, you don't have to force a cast. You don't have to force the cast at all, actually. But if you guys want to see that cast, there we go. That cast wasn't so flat that time. That was personally my fault. But as you guys can see, it really takes no effort at all to cast these reels. So a 16th ounce chatterbait on any other setup to get a lot of distance, you need to cast it hard. But I'm getting 10, maybe 12 yards easily with just a small flick of the wrist, and it's no force behind the flick. So BFS reels enable you to actually use finesse lures and place them in the places you want while using little to no effort, like so. It is a great little thing, especially if you're somebody who's microfishing in creek settings, if you're fishing trout settings. I just personally think that this is one of the best options for anybody who wants to fish ultralight. Now I'm using a different type of rod for this as well. I'm using a very light rated rod. KastKing doesn't have any rods available in the American market right now, but they will soon from what I understand. So if you guys are looking out for a rod to pair this with, I've seen people like Jose at Bait and Bougie. I've actually seen him use the the KastKing, I think it's the Perigee rod. I'm sure there's a link to it down in the description, but that's a great rod also if you want to pair for just simply bass finesse. But personally, I love using this reel for pretty much anything finesse. Trout fishing, I don't have any trout near me, but I also love it for using for pan fishing. And heck, I've even used it in salt water. So hopefully I can show you guys what this reel is all about once we catch a fish. All right, guys, we just switched to a 32nd ounce jig. Now, one thing you guys got to be careful with whenever you're using a weight this light is you've got to slowly cast it. You cannot be flicking your wrist super hard with this. Now, something that a lot of people will do, especially on spinning gear, is they'll absolutely try to cast as hard as you can, and not necessarily, long distance really does not matter as much as people think it does. So what I'm doing is, this is a finesse reel meant for finesse casting. Finesse casting, you're not casting for long distance, you're casting for accuracy. So that's the whole point of finesse, is sticking it right where you want, whenever you want it to, especially with light gear, because what you're doing is you're targeting pressured fish. And the thing is with BFS is that it was literally invented for targeting pressured fish in different fisheries where they've seen just about everything. And what I'm doing is I'm actually able to target specifically what I want in this fishery, because this fishery is probably the lowest fish spot in my city. So it's like, oh, I just got chased by a giant bluegill. This is one of KastKing's best reels I have ever personally used. I've been using KastKing for probably 4 or 5 years now. And I was even before I ever even did any type of social media or videoing. I actually fished tournaments when I was in high school. I'm actually graduated college now, but I fished tournaments in high school with KastKing gear. So it is one of my favorite reels that I've ever used, especially because of how smooth and how great performing it is. This reel, to me, is actually smoother than some $300 reels that I've bought. And to be honest, it's like, why did I spend that much money when I could have saved some money with KastKing? All right, guys, we're on the other side of the pond now. We've got some more shade happening over here. Looks a lot better. And I did not thumb that at all by accident. Oh, I just got hit, guys. That was a big old fish. Oh, there's a bass. There we go, guys. First fish of the day on a little 1-inch paddle tail. Trying to grab him. Super nice hook set right there on the side of the mouth. I actually had my drag sing a little bit because it was set a little too loose, if you guys heard that, whenever I hook set into the fish. But we caught a tiny bass here in the pressured pond. That's one thing I love about using BFS reels, is that even in pressured areas such as this, you can still get bit by throwing tiny lures. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to get skunked ever, use tiny lures with a BFS reel and you won't. That's one thing I love about it. One thing I've already noticed, guys, is one, the minute I started fishing this shade line, I immediately started getting bit, especially with small lures. So even if you use small lures, even if you do everything you can in the hot parts of the lake, if you don't understand how the fish work, you will not produce the fish that you want to. So one little tip that I give you is always target shade lines. Even if you're targeting bluegill, always target the shade lines, because in the summer, like it is down here, you're always going to have a little bit better luck. I actually just had a fish jump out of the water after I caught the fish I just did, and he actually hit on the fall, which is another thing. So slowing down, targeting shade lines, even with micro stuff like I am, is always key to catch more fish in the summer. All right, guys, we're gonna change it up one more time. We're gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna try a jig, like a tiny jig. Oh, there we go, guys. A fish. What is this? This is bigger. Oh, it's a bass. Oh, that's a decent one. It's like a 2-pounder. Oh, geez, guys. Sweet. Guys, check that out. Caught him out in the middle on that little chatterbait. That is so sweet, guys. I was really honestly getting kind of bummed that we weren't going to catch any more fish, but I am not complaining about this one. That is probably my biggest fish so far on the KastKing Kestrel Elite, which is nice. Let's get this hook out of his mouth. Oh, that one was almost in my hand. That was a really close one. Buddy was trying to come out for me. He's not even a 2-pounder. He's probably a 1.5 pounds. There you go, easy release, baby. Guys, this little chatterbait's just got bit out there in the middle for me. That fish literally hit it as it was sinking, so that was pretty sweet. So I'm gonna switch to a different trailer because this trailer's all ripped up, but sweet little catch on the KastKing Kestrel Elite. If you notice, my drag held true even when he started taking and running with it. I was able to even yank that fish out of these pads and get him up on the bank. And we got a quick few pictures, released him back in the water so he could go and fight another day. It's actually really satisfying to catch a little bit bigger bass out of this pond because, as I said, guys, this is an incredibly pressured lake. So catching anything here feels great because this is easily the most popular pond in my town, and I live in a small city of probably 200,000 people. So that's like a special feeling to be able to actually do this. And to add on to that, I almost forgot, but just the fact really goes to show that this is the reason why BFS exists. BFS was invented to be able to be more efficient at fishing small finesse style lures in very pressured ponds like so. When BFS was essentially started to take its roots over in Japan, people started using smaller lures, but they wanted to be able to place them in a little bit easier and tighter spots. So they started fine-tuning their finesse bait casters to be better at doing such. So now people over there use it for bass, trout, doesn't matter what it is. But this is the perfect finesse technique to be able to break down and enjoy your fishing days more often. All right, guys, we just caught another fish, but my GoPro overheated just before I literally caught it. But I started popping the chatterbait just slightly, and it was the ticket for this little guy right here. But he got hooked really good. I actually had a great hook set on this fish, so I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out how to get him unhooked real quick. I'll see you guys on the flip side when I release him. All right, guys, he was a little tough to get unhooked, but we're gonna let him go. Hurry up and get him out of there. No pictures for you, buddy. He got out. Looks like he just swam off right there too. Sweet. Oh, there we go. Another fish. Here. Oh, buddy. There's gonna be a snake here, and I'm not messing with that. Yep. Well, there's fish number 4 for the day, guys. That is a good point to call it on. Guys, I would have handled that a little bit better if maybe there wasn't snakes here in Florida. All right, guys, that is wrapping it up for the day. So I caught about 4 fish, all on a paddle tail or a chatterbait. I caught my first fish on a small 1-inch paddle tail on a 32nd ounce jig head. I caught all my other fish on a 1/16 ounce chatterbait flashback mini with a Bobby Garland baby shad in the sweet tea lemonade-ish looking color. I don't know what to call it, so I'd probably call it an Arnold Palm. I got out on the water. I fished probably the most pressured lake in my city with the KastKing Kestrel Elite. I used BFS techniques to expand upon my ability to finesse more fish out of this tight little quarters lake. So this lake has been fished probably several times a day for years and years and years straight. I can't tell you a time that I've come out here and not seen another fisherman. Today I saw several other fishermen when I first got here. All of them are now gone, but the point is I used finesse techniques and expanded upon them with the KastKing Kestrel Elite BFS to further nail and be more efficient with how accurate my casting is. I'm able to place 1/32 ounce and 16th ounce lures however I want. Not a lot of bait casters can do that. So one of the things I love about the KastKing Kestrel Elite BFS is its ability to allow me to become a more efficient fisherman. If you guys want to pick up this reel, there's gonna be a link down in the description, and I want to say thank you again to KastKing for having me on the channel. I can't wait to do more fishing with the KastKing Kestrel Elite and talk more all about it because it's one of my favorite reels as of recently that's come out. It's a super premium reel at a great price, and you get more than you really bargain for out of it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time on Hooked Up with Hunter.